Alright, ladies and gentlemen, back to the channel, Ollie King Vlogs, of course, and in today's video is my Premier League predictions for the 2021 campaign, which promises to be as enthralling as ever, with my club in the back there, Leeds United, returning to the top flight for the first time in 16 seasons. Oh boy, it feels good. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the video. Just a quick disclaimer, all the predictions are just my personal opinion, so please stay tuned to find out where I rank your team and do not take offence. So yeah, that's just the two main talking points. So we're going to start in ascending order, 20th to first position, and in 20th I've put Brighton and Hove Albion. So Brighton, yes, Graham Potter, the boss there at the Amex, they can play some pretty stuff at times. Players for Brighton that you'd expect could help them if they were in the sort of relegation dogfight. Ben White coming back off his loan from my club, Leeds United, should sure to be a quality addition. Obviously now he signed a 4-year deal, and he got Leeds back to the promised land, so there can be no hard feelings there. But yeah, that's it. Good luck to Ben White in all his endeavours, and I'm sure if he keeps going at the rate he's going, he will find a spot in the England squad down the line. So, talking points for Brighton, I think there was interest in Odsonne Edouard, or one of the clubs interested in Celtic's talisman Odsonne Edouard. Nothing's really materialised. I believe I think he's injured at the minute, but I think he is staying at Celtic. Wilmar Barrios, the Colombian from Zenit St. Petersburg, I believe. Apparently he was really interested in a move to the Premier League. Obviously there's still 20 odd days of the transfer window left, so anything could materialise with that. But as it stands, I do not believe any negotiations have took place. So yeah, Tariq Lamptey, Yves Bissouma, Republic of Ireland international Aaron Connolly, Neil Maupay and Lewis Dunk were some of the standout players, along with Belgian Leandro Trossard for the Seagulls last season. So all Premier League calibre players. So it should be a good season, but I do think they could possibly bail out Brighton if they did get in the relegation doldrums. But I just do think they will finish bottom. I could be totally wrong. They could finish 10th. Who am I to judge? But now in 19th position, we have newly promoted side West Bromwich Albion. So West Bromwich Albion's transfer window has consisted of grading Diangana for 18 million from West Ham, with Mark Noble tweeting an angry tweet directed at the owners. So that is sort of the highlight of where West Brom's window. Cedric Kipre also joined, and then Mateus Pereira made his loan deal permanent from Sporting Lisbon. And then I think Filip Krovinovic, the Croatian, obviously Slaven Bilic, Croatian links there. Filip Krovinovic has signed on a loan deal again with an option to buy at the end of this season. But that could all possibly be pending on if they do stay in the division. But I am thinking West Brom 19th. They could easily be the team that finished 17th and scrapes out of it on the final day, say. But I'm not sure if the teams like up to the Premier League calibre. Really, Semi Ajayi also in the defence. They've definitely got those sort of standout players. And Callum Robinson as well was involved in a swap deal with Ollie Burke going the other way to Bramall Lane to join Chris Wilder's side. So there's some decent additions in there. We never know with sort of these teams. Like I've said, West Brom are really the team that could escape out of the relegation zone on the final day, but only time will tell. And until they've done further business or got the feet under the table and like sort of picked up some points once the season's underway, I can't really judge. But based on sort of current status, I'm saying West Brom in 19th. So now moving on to 18th, and this could be possibly controversial. I don't feel like it is, but it is in 18th. It is Aston Villa. So obviously Villa survived on the final day. Survived on the final day with a point away at West Ham, I believe. But obviously there was the controversy coming from the Hawkeye moment. Michael Oliver's watch wasn't turned on against Sheffield United after Orjan Nyland sort of carried it into his own net. I'm sure everyone's seen that. So basically, Villa should have gone down on goal difference. They didn't, and obviously they are a bigger club than Bournemouth. So the Premier League, yes, it needs bigger clubs. So all right. That's enough of me waffling on. They've signed Matty Cash for 16 million and Ollie Watkins for 33 million, club record deal, linking back up with Dean Smith there. So, do I feel like these could be sort of shrewd signings? Like I say, we did think this was going to sort of be Leeds' approach. It is the cream of the crop from the Championship. Just Villa fans will be hoping that they do adjust to life in the top flight. Obviously, Jack Grealish still sort of on the books of Villa. I do believe they're sort of trying to outprice any club from buying him in the current climate, obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic affecting transfer prices, but Villa seem to be holding out for the 80 million price tag of Grealish. So yeah, I'm predicting Villa 18th. They weren't promising really last season. Like I say, the scrape due to the goal line technology error, and Ollie Watkins could be a revelation, but he also could be a flop. So until I've seen him in the Prem, I'm judging. Yes, he was great in the Championship, but can he make that step up? I do have sort of some doubts. So 18th position, Aston Villa. Now moving on at 17th, I'm just scraping survival. It is Fulham, who in fact do kick off the Premier League campaign at home to Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Obviously Scott Parker's side, Super Joe Bryan, beating Brentford in the playoff final with his 2 goals in extra time. So should be interesting. Obviously Fulham have signed Harrison Reed and Mario Lemina, the duo from Southampton, and Anthony Robinson on a sort of subsidised fee, but they did pay £100,000 more to sort of help Wigan's cause due to their administration, which was a really nice touch. When I read that, it was really nice. And possibly one of the shocks of the window so far, Alphonse Areola on a loan to buy deal. Obviously, he was on loan at Real Madrid last season from PSG, and now he's just gone to Fulham. So I do believe the billionaire owner, Shade Khan, I think he also owns Jacksonville Jaguars, an NFL team. So he's absolutely loaded, but it just shows the pulling power that they have, because obviously they're getting a new stand, I believe, at Craven Cottage, which is in the process of being built. But Fulham, 17th, Scott Parker, maiden season in the Premier League as a manager. And I do think with the goals of the likes of Alexander Mitrovic, possibly Bobby Cordova-Reid, popping in with a couple, and Harrison Reed shoring up the defence along with Michael Hector. Tim Ream is absolutely shocking. You need to get him off your books immediately. But then I'm sure Areola will be a steady pair of hands in net. So I'm predicting Fulham just to stave off the drop in 17th. So now 16th position, I've gone for Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. It's at the start of the window, it looked inevitable that Wilfred Zaha would leave. Would in fact leave Selhurst Park, but nothing looks to have materialised with that. The club sort of rumoured with him was Spurs, but they seem to not have much money, and sort of seem to, the money they do have being took from loans by reports after obviously the stadium sort of rinsed their pockets dry. So looks like Zaha could be staying at Palace. Does he want to be there? Certainly not. Good news for Palace though, they have got Michy Batshuayi back on a season-long loan from Chelsea. I think he was one of the rumoured targets of Leeds, but he was at Crystal Palace. I believe the 18-19 season he come in the January on loan, and I think he scored about 7 goals in 12 appearances or something along those lines. So he had a great goal scoring record. Unfortunately, Palace still have Christian Benteke on the books, but Jordan Ayew has remained the Ghanaian. So with Michy Batshuayi and Jordan Ayew, you're guaranteed some goals, and they needed really striker reinforcement after I'm pretty sure they only netted about 31 goals in the entirety of last season. Let me just grab a drink. So yeah, moving back onto the Wilfred Zaha subject rather, without him at the sort of tail end of last season, Palace were woeful, and it's sort of good job they got a run of results together, because I'm pretty sure they lost their final 7 matches, which was dire form. I think it was only worse than it was only bettered rather by Norwich, who like lost about 11 in a row, something ridiculous like that. So it really was relegation form. Roy Hodgson has kept his job. Steve Parish, the hierarchy at Crystal Palace, have sort of gone out and got the replacement. Like they've got Eberechi Eze from QPR, who looks to be a really promising player. And I do think Roy Hodgson experimented with youth at the tail end of last season, using, I believe it's Tyrick Mitchell, a defender. I think he could be a fullback. Don't quote me on that one though. But Palace do have an aging defence, and it will be nice to see them bring youth through, like Jeffrey Slupp as well. I think he's sort of middle-aged football in terms. But yeah, Palace 16th. That's enough of me rambling on. I think they'll be safe. Probably best as you get Zaha out, because it's probably just a bad egg in the dressing room, and just isn't great for the team morale. But now 15th, it is the Ginger, Sean Dyche's Burnley, Brexit Burnley, as we all like to call them. Burnley did have a decent season. I think they finished inside the top 10 last year, but I can just see them sort of falling off. Ashley Barnes, yeah, you've got Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood, Jay Rodriguez, the shithouse strikers, really. Do apologise there, but they are just the shithouse strikers. They just score the important goals, and that's what keeps Burnley in the division. Players to look out for Burnley, I'd probably say Dwight McNeil. He has caught the eye of many suitors in the Premier League and across Europe. So yeah, he's sort of one to look out for the future. He did have a great season at Burnley last year, and I think they've sort of been lucky to keep hold of him. But if you keep Sean Dyche obviously at Burnley, they've definitely got stable. They'll definitely stay up with Sean Dyche at the helm. But if he did leave, I would be ever so slightly worried. But yeah, there's Burnley's so bland. There's not much else to say about Burnley. I think Tarkowski has had two bids rejected by the Burnley hierarchy from West Ham for him. So that's good news. You're keeping like your core of your defence, which should have you in good stead for the forthcoming season. So in 14th position now, it is the club attempting to buy James Tarkowski. It is West Ham United. So, like I mentioned when I was on West Brom, Graydon Diangana, the youngster, has left for the Hawthorns, and Mark Noble came out and he was rather angry at the owners there. So it's not a happy place, really, West Ham. They signed Jared Bowen in January last year, and he hasn't really reached his full potential, I don't believe, yet, but I feel like he could have a great season. Great players for West Ham wise. You've got your Felipe Andersons, who really didn't live up to expectations last year. Who else do West Ham have, really? Mikel Antonio, that's who I wanted to mention. He scored 4 against Norwich at the back end of last year. I'm pretty sure he scored about 12 in the last 10 games or something ridiculous like that. So he was on extreme form. But David Moyes, again, it's just not much ambition, is it, really? Issa Diop at the back with Andre Ogbonna. So do they need Tarkowski? I'm not totally sure, but only time will tell. So I think there's also sort of an overriding theme with these clubs low down in the league. They're trying to bring through the youngsters. So I think West Brom have like a fullback called Ben Johnson or something. I believe I saw him featured. But they're just trying to bring through this cycle of youth, see how they do. But I think West Ham rather will have enough to survive in 14th position. So getting on to 13th position now, it is my club, Leeds United. So Leeds transfer business, obviously I've already done a transfer talk. Robin Koch from Freiburg and Rodrigo Moreno from Valencia. So both European calibre talents really. A German and a Spanish international. Then obviously Rodrigo de Paul rumoured. Josko Gvardiol looks to be sort of signed, sealed, delivered, but not delivered. So yes, guys, as per the reports of Fabrizio Romano, a really reliable source on Josko Gvardiol there of Dinamo Zagreb. Pretty concrete, signed, sealed, delivered almost. But we'll see in the coming days if that can be over the line. So hopefully Leeds adjust seamlessly to life in the top flight, but only time will tell. Really can't judge, hopefully, the calibre of players. Obviously, Bielsa's mentorship. There's not much else we can add. We can only hope, but I do believe primary target is just hit the 40 points mark, and once we're there, then we can sort of show everyone what we're about. But that's got to be the primary target: stay in the division and build over the coming seasons, which I have so much faith in. Obviously, the board now and El Loco Bielsa, that he can achieve that. So only time will tell, but it does look promising, and hopefully we could possibly emulate an achievement of obviously Yorkshire rivals last season, Sheffield United, on their first season in the Premiership in about 10 years or so. So now, interestingly enough, we do move on to, in 12th position, Sheffield United, who I've just briefly touched on there. So Chris Wilder gets therapy out of sort of improving washed up, worn out English and British, great British talents rather. So Ollie Burke looks to be the latest, well, not looks, he has been taken under his wing by Chris Wilder. So we'll see what materialises with that really. Aaron Ramsdale brought in to replace Dean Henderson, who's obviously gone back to the Scummers after his season-long loan. So nothing else I can add with Sheffield United. 12th spot, just sort of consolidate and then build for a third season in the Premier League. Sander Berge was brought in last January. He looks to have sort of a more positive impact on the team, hopefully first full season with the club. Who else have they brought in? I think they're looking to maybe bring one more striker, I believe. And obviously they've also today brought in Ethan Ampadu on the eve of the new Premier League season. But there's just so much waffle there. I do apologise. Sheffield United 12th. I think that would be fair, and they'd all snap my hand off for that now, I do believe. So now 11th place, it is the Geordies, it is Newcastle United. They've brought in 3 notable signings in the last week, them being Jamal Lewis from Norwich City for about 14 million, or a fee in the region of that. Callum Wilson for, again, about 20 million. And then Ryan Fraser, who was a free agent since leaving Bournemouth. So the Bournemouth duo there, Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser. So they were really, so all 3 part of relegated teams, although Ryan Fraser did leave before Bournemouth's relegation. But all proven players, obviously maybe Jamal Lewis, but definitely a raw talent there. There's a great player underneath. Just a shame he wasn't playing in a team higher up the division. But these things happen, and he's got his move to Newcastle now, and it looks like they should be kicking on. Callum Wilson, obviously, probably to replace the goals they lost by the signing of Joe Linton, who really didn't live up to expectations. I think he only netted twice last season, which wasn't great. Maybe he might get a couple more this season. Doesn't seem to be playing in the right system, but only time will tell. I do think it could be a very positive season for Newcastle, though, obviously. All the animosity off the pitch. Mike Ashley is still actually trying, believe it or not, he does have the club's best interests at heart at the moment. He's trying to get rid, but obviously the failed takeover of the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund was sort of scuppered his plans of that, but he still is actively looking to sell the club. So Newcastle 11th, Steve Bruce. I just think it'll be a positive season, the first in many. I say this, and they could be fighting off relegation, but I can just see them having a much better season than last year, and like all the other predictions, only time will tell. But that's Newcastle in 11th. So moving on to 10th now, it is Southampton. Ralph Hasenhüttl at the wheel there. Che Adams scored that absolute worldie against Man City when they won 1-0. So he's had a great season. Mo Salisu from Real Valladolid, the centre back, has been brought in also at Southampton, and Kyle Walker-Peters from Spurs on a permanent deal who they had on loan last year. So some positive signings there for Southampton, obviously letting midfield duo Mario Lemina, who had been out on loan last year, and Harrison Reed left on for about 6 million to Fulham, who he'd been out on loan last year. So I think Southampton's form towards the back end of last season was crazy, and it was mental. If they'd had that before, and it's crazy to think that at the beginning of last season they lost 9-0 at home to Leicester, so you really wouldn't have thought it based on the performances at the tail end of last year. But they're going to be looking to sort of build on the great run at the end of the last campaign, and there's just not much else to say. Obviously, Danny Ings was up amongst the top goal scorers in the division with, I believe, about 22. He was only a couple behind the Golden Boot winner Jamie Vardy, but I think he played in the England games, so he got a look back in after his great performances. But yeah, Southampton 10th should be a good season for them. It's sort of where they'd be aiming for after the end of the last campaign. So 9th now, possibly controversial, Wolves. I do think it could be time where the participation in the Europa League could possibly come back to bite them. So some really positive signings. Shock to the system. They've signed more Portuguese players, most notably a young 17-year-old, I believe, Thiago. I think he's Thiago. It could be Fabio Silva. Actually, no, I think it's Fabio Silva. Sorry, I don't know where I got the Thiago from. I think it's Fabio Silva for about. I think it equates when you do the euro to pound conversion to about 40 million, and he is only 17, 18. So Wolves really must have seen something in him. He's had comparisons to the next João Felix, who hasn't. I wouldn't have said João Felix has lived up to his full potential yet, but certainly this lad does look like the real deal, and a great acquisition for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and obviously the mentorship of Nuno. So yeah, Wolves 9th. I do think they probably will finish higher up the table, but just a second season in the Europa League consecutively, and I think their campaign starts slightly late. I think it's like Monday. They begin the first game on Monday night due to their extended season, thanks to participation in the Europa League latter stages of last campaign. So Wolves 9th. Who else have they brought in? Marçal, obviously Doherty, the most notable departure. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was a failed transfer into Molineux. But there's not much else to add. As long as Raul Jimenez is scoring goals and Podence is getting on the score sheet now and again, they're sorted. So 9th Wolves. 8th now, it is Leicester City. Jamie Vardy's having a party. Bring your vodka and your Charlie. Leicester, I just don't think they can live up to the heights of last season. So they were really the surprise package last season, although they did fall away and they did finish just outside the Champions League spots after occupying them for the majority of the season. So they did finish 5th last campaign. But I can see them having another positive season. I do feel though like the schedule of the Europa League rather may take its toll, and that may be why they just do fall short of another season in the Europa League once again. But signings that brought in Timothy Castagna, one of the, I believe, fullbacks of Atalanta, who a great model over the last years with Gasperini in charge there. Time will tell if Brendan Rodgers can pull off his magic again for the Foxes. But I'm putting them in eighth. I'm going to sort of hedge my bets. I'd say that's a safe bet. They could definitely finish higher, but only time will tell. So now seventh, and really Carlo Ancelotti at Everton. It is Everton, by the way. Carlo Ancelotti, though, a great manager. The signings he's brought in the midfield: Abdoulaye Doucouré, James Rodriguez from Real Madrid, the Colombian, and the Brazilian Alan from his former club Napoli. So absolutely transformed the midfield. Obviously, last season they had to start Anthony Gordon. So yeah, youngsters, you can't complain. They're your own. But really, when you've got Ancelotti, you need better quality midfielders than having to start your youth for like 20 odd games towards the tail end and having Tom Davies in your midfield. So really a great upgrade for the Toffees, and that's why I can see them just about getting into the Europa League spots. I believe they get a playoff for the Europa League, I'm not sure, but they'll definitely be challenging in that sort of region. So it should be a good season for the Toffees, and that's why I've put them in seventh. So some great summer business so far, and yeah, there's not much else to say. So sixth now, Mikel Arteta with Arsenal. Obviously, they get their campaign started off with a visit to West London and to Craven Cottage precisely to take on Fulham, Scott Parker and his newly promoted side. So Arsenal there, I think Aubameyang signing a new deal, which is sort of music to Arsenal fans' ears. But obviously Gabriel from Lille, the major sort of signing, and William Saliba coming back from his sort of permanent buy, but then loaned back to his club that he was bought off Saint Etienne for last season. So he's also coming into the defence. I think Socrates is on his way out. It said on Sky News this morning something like he's got an injury currently, but is that just to sort of cover that he's on his way out? And I think David Luiz will miss the Fulham match with a neck spasm. I believe I saw rolling across the bottom of the screen. So Arsenal, Aubameyang stays is the main thing. Just sort of build on last season, and Arteta when he come in was great. Obviously, they clinched the Community Shield on penalties against Liverpool. They won the FA Cup final against Chelsea, making it their 14th title of record that they already did hold, but they just broke their own record basically. So Arsenal, I am predicting them obviously to finish behind Spurs, but anything could change there. I think Arsenal maybe, although Arteta probably not a serial winner, you can't call him a serial winner yet. He is really a novice in managerial sort of stature compared to Jose Mourinho on the other side of North London. But he did have a really promising season, and only the defensive acquisitions can only mean sort of good things, shoring up at the back, getting rid of Squadron Mustafi and the likes of that, and sort of team unity now under Arteta, which is great for the Gunner fans. So in fifth position now it is Tottenham Hotspurs, Jose Mourinho at the wheel, and can he end? Will he be able to end Spurs' trophy hoodoo? Who knows? Because it's really been awful bad. They haven't won a league title since 1961. So for a club the size of Spurs, it's pretty unheard of before. But there you go. Obviously, the brand new, spanking new stadium, state of the art, absolutely beautiful. Obviously, inspiration for the south stand off the yellow wall in Borussia Dortmund, and I'm predicting Spurs just to finish outside the Premier League, the Champions League spots, with Højbjerg, the Dane, an addition, and Matt Doherty from Wolves, a wing back. Will he suit the system? Remains to be seen. Maybe change up the back line. Eric Dyer might feature. I'm not sure what Mourinho sees or Southgate even saw in the international matches of Eric Dyer, but behind closed doors, we do not know what happens behind closed doors. So maybe some sort of like he performs well in training summit, but that's a whole new conversation for another day. So I have predicted Spurs to finish just outside the Champions League spots, which will be sort of gutting for their fans, but they have got a qualifying spot for the Europa League. So if they can get into that, then they're in the Europa League, and I feel like the squad should be decent. But obviously, then again, that sort of extra strain of Thursday night matches could be detrimental for the season. But I'm sure they will take it seriously, and I'm sure they should be fine. And like I say, I believe they'll finish above Arsenal with players like Steven Bergwijn, Harry Kane at full fitness. So yeah, remains to be seen. But Spurs 5th. So moving on now to the Champions League spots, and it is the Scummers, the team we all hate. Shoes off if you hate Man U. It is Manchester United. So obviously, being a Leeds fan, I absolutely despise this club. But yeah, the PE teacher Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the wheel, and he'll probably just about scrape top 4 again. They've got a quality squad. Don't get me wrong. Bruno Fernandes being a standout of theirs last season, along with Marcus Rashford, and then new kid on the block, Mason Greenwood. But obviously, what he did against Iceland, sort of out of line, so maybe he doesn't deserve a mention. But obviously he's a young player and he only needs to mature, so hopefully he's learnt from his mistakes, but remains to be seen. So Man United, like I said, they're just going to just about scrape top 4. Donny van der Beek, another addition to the squad, and the saga over the goalkeeper situation with Dean Henderson coming back to his parent club and signing, I think, like £120,000 a week deal with De Gea already on like £300,000 or £290,000 or something. So they pay just under £500,000 for both their keepers weekly, which is an absolute joke. Just shows what a joke club they are. But this is enough waffling on. They'll just about scrape top 4. That's it. That's all that has to be said. So 3rd now, it is Chelsea, another club I have particular disliking to. Obviously, Fat Frank, the manager there, and Chelsea's transfer window, it's got to be applauded. The only situation now they need to tie up the loose ends is with the keeper. I believe Rennes keeper, Mendy or something, is the one that they're tying up in the next couple of days. But they do begin their campaign at the Amex away to Brighton, so it'll be interesting. I do believe they're going to have to try and bridge the gap and close in on the top 2 a bit more. They've got to get Champions League, otherwise, I'm sorry, but the money Abramovich has spent on Frank Lampard, he's going to be gone with his head, surely. But only time will tell. Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz, all absolutely sensational signings. Ben Chilwell, and then obviously Thiago Silva also. So, like I say, only time will tell, but Chelsea 3rd, but I can definitely see him possibly bridging the gap to Manchester City in 2nd. So obviously that gives away that I believe Liverpool will win a 2nd consecutive title, but Manchester City, 9 wins for the club that, with the spending power of Manchester, 9 defeats rather, with the club of the spending power of Manchester City is an absolute joke. They can't be losing that many games, and they were over 20 points or something off Liverpool last season, so they really do need to book up their ideas and bridge that gap. I think a defensive signing this summer, interestingly though, they haven't spent 300 million on fullbacks, but a defensive signing like a Kalidou Koulibaly could be the sort of player they need. But I still do think Liverpool are going to win the league, like I've said. But they'll definitely bridge the gap. I think there was talks of Mahrez possibly leaving to join Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid. But that was sort of only paper reports, so can we trust them? Possibly not. But they do begin their campaign next week, so they don't play this game week. I think Leeds, we play them at Ellen Road on the 3rd of October, I believe. So fans thinking they might be able to get back in for that. That may be scuppered due to the latest COVID-19 developments. But Manchester City second, I can definitely see them bridging the gap on Liverpool. But the deserved champions and the second consecutive champions, in my opinion, of the Premier League title is going to be Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. Hopefully they give Leeds the 3 points tomorrow night, and we do get the new campaign underway with 3 points. But it's a free hit. I'm going to probably go score prediction, probably about 3-1 Liverpool. But I don't think they will be expecting sort of the press of Leeds. Klopp's even come out and said himself he's a total admirer of Bielsa's style, so it should be a real clash of the titans, if you like. David v Goliath in reality, but can David defeat Goliath? Only time will tell. But thank you guys for watching. Like I say, Liverpool going to win the title again, so congrats to you Liverpool fans out there. I hope you do, really. You do deserve it. It would be great to see, obviously, James Milner, ex-Leeds. Hopefully he'll come back maybe next season, but lifting the title again with his club. So, see you guys in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to smash a like on the video and subscribe. It all means a lot. I know I've waffled a bit, but it's just great to see my face back. I hope it is anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed. Liverpool to win the title again. Villa, West Brom and Brighton to go down, and I'll see you in the next one. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you up. Bye.